Amateurs practice the basics until they can just get them right. Masters practice the basics until they can't get them wrong. These are two completely different things. Let's start with the first part. So, people who try, and this can apply to anything in life, people who begin, they, a lot of times they have the end goal in mind and they want to achieve that goal as fast as possible. So, what they tend to do is they try to speed run through the basic tutorial stuff, like for example, think of like Cuphead. Um, you start off with Cuphead. You gotta here. Let me draw it out. Cuphead, boom, straw, right? And then at the end of the game, you gotta beat the devil, right? And beating the devil is your end goal, right? But before you can beat the devil, let's do a different color. You have to go through the tutorial training. The tutorial stuff, and in the tutorial, you learn how to parry. You get your blaster. You learn how to aim. What other mechanics are there? You gotta learn how to dodge, of course. You have to learn all these basic skills before you can just fight the devil. Um, and this is just one of many examples of how this applies to real life. Like, obviously, for this channel, this is fitness related, but this quote is the cornerstone of how to get good at anything. This is a piece of advice that can apply to anything. And what I'm trying to point out to you is that you can't outrun the basics. I mean, they are the foundation. Let me use the little thicker color. Like, all this stuff is the foundation. More specifically, the foundation of your skill, foundation of your progress, foundation of your path or journey. I mean, like, there's many ways to word it, but the main focus is that this is the foundation. Ooh. Just keep that in mind. These tutorial things that you may not pay attention to and you try to speed run through are the most essential things that you can have. And if you don't master these basic things, there are going to be holes in your style of I'll put it this way, your play style, the way that you interact with this game, and like in fitness terms, it's the way that you choose to progress to your goal of having the best body that you can have. In a Cuphead, your play style, it doesn't have to be conventional, but having these basic things of playing the game, you have to master. And if you have a hole in one of these, and then you'll be severely held back. Not necessarily because of your play style, but because you just didn't master the basic stuff. Once you master the basics, though, let's see, master. That's when you can play around. Like, you can go this way, you can go this way, you can take this path, you can take this path. This one's a fucking loop-de-loop. But that's until you can master it. That is until you can master it. And I'm repeating this again and again and again because I just want to reinforce the idea that amateurs, beginners, newbies, practice the basics until they can get them right. And I'll even add an extra word right here, until they can just get them right. When I say just get them right, I'm saying that they get it right like one time, and then they act like they mastered the basics. But that is not how you master anything at all. The way that you master something is you practice it, masters practice, until they can't get them wrong. The basics become so effortless, natural, automatic, ingrained, encoded, that they can't get them wrong. Let's go back to the Cuphead example. So let's say that my goal is to beat the devil, and I'm starting off as Cuphead. What I'm going to do, in a conventional sense, to beat the game, I'm going to master these key things, and I'm going to practice them so much. And the way that I would practice is just by literally playing the game. You can either practice in silence, or you can raw dog it, which basically just means building the plane while you're in the air. So you can either practice in your alone time and just reintegrate these skills outside of the game, or you can just play the game and treat each experience that you get as a learning opportunity. And that is honestly my preferred way of doing things. I used to be this hyper analytical guy. I used to watch so many YouTube videos on fitness. But at the end of the day, what matters is your ability to do. Alright, it's action that counts. Thinking doesn't give you results. I mean, action gives you results. Obviously, you want to know what you're doing and have a plan ahead of time, but without action, your potential doesn't manifest. And potential is just a mental thing. It's not something physical that you can hold or you can see. The only way to make your potential a tangible thing is by taking action. Here, it's gonna be a little rough, but here. Action is a mandatory thing. I repeat, taking action is mandatory. There's no way around it. And the way that I like to take action and improve my capabilities and my abilities to do things is literally just by rock dogging it. Literally just by playing the game and experiencing things, seeing what works and what doesn't in real time. I just treat life as this big like sandbox, this big learning experience where I just see if shit works. And the problem with practicing in silence is that you're doing this in a isolated chamber outside of real life events. And if something works in this isolated chamber, it may not necessarily work in the real world. And that's kind of the flaw of science-based lifting. Um, they focus too much on theory. That's what practicing in silence is. It's too much theory and not enough mandatory action. And I'm not saying that science is bad, obviously not. I'm not saying that having a theory is bad. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to test the theory. And the way you test it is by putting that theory into the real world and just seeing if it works or not. So back to the Cuphead example, I previously stated that I would master these basic things by taking action, and the way that I choose to take action is by experiencing. And over time, because everything takes time, you can cut down time, you can optimize things, but there is a certain amount of time that you have to pay up. That is unavoidable. Over time, I'll get better and better. Maybe like something happens, I get a setback, but I get better. I'm on my way. Oh, maybe a little setback, but like over time, if I just keep going, I reach my goal. Despite all the bumps on the road, I mean, I still hit my goal. And the way that I hit my goal is just by doing the basic stuff. And I'm not saying that you won't ever learn advanced stuff. I mean, you're going to pick up an item on this way. You might pick up something on this way. You might learn something here. You might learn a technique there. Maybe you even like go back and like, oh shoot, I missed something here. I'm not saying you're not going to learn more stuff. I think that learning is a very valuable thing. But the core of everything, the cornerstone of everything, is mastering the basics right here and letting the basics compound over time. Just letting your skill and intentions, so I'll put intentional practice, allow that to compound over time. Sorry, this is a little messy, by the way. I got a little carried away. But anyways, you let your intentional practice of the basics compound over time, and that is what gives you the results, and that's what takes you to your end goal. Circle in. That is what takes you here. Intentional practice. And you're just gonna have to do it over and over and over again. You're gonna have to repeat the same basic mechanics over and over and over again until you get to here. Nothing else would really give you the same effect as mastering the basics. Like I said many times, they are the core. Let me write this right here. They are the core, the cornerstone of everything. Without the basics, you are cooked. They're non-negotiable, guys. Like you can't avoid it. It doesn't matter what fancy technique you discover. It doesn't matter what you find. I mean, all that matters is that you look at what the basics are. You understand the basic components of one thing, and you do it over and over, and you practice it over and over, and just let it compound by time, and then you get results. But you can't avoid the hard work. I mean, the work is what makes this possible. And obviously I have Ippo to showcase hard work, because he trains like a crazy man. But anyways, I just want to reinforce the idea that the basics are what matter. And obviously I'm going to go over what the basics are in terms of fitness and like health and stuff like that. But this quote is just something that applies to anything in life in general, and I just want to share that with you guys. All right.